Good morning, everyone. Good morning from Vienna, Austria. My name is Kostyantyn Steblovskyy. I'm the Business Development Manager for AxxonSoft for Western Europe and Northern Europe. Thank you very much for joining us all today. We are very glad to have you with us. And we are really excited to share with you our presentation and our solution together with our partners, Intel, Seagate, and ABUS. So I would say that we just wait a couple of more minutes and we can start with the presentation right away. So good morning once again. As I said before, my name is Kostyantyn Steblovskyy from AxxonSoft. I'm the Business Development Manager for Western and Northern Europe. It is great to see a lot of people that are already joining. I see there are a lot of people joining from all over the world, actually, not only from Europe. So it's great to see a lot of people have basically registered and are joining us today. So we are discussing today a really global topic at the moment, intelligent video surveillance. I'm very happy to be joined by our partners, Intel, Seagate, and ABUS. As for our own presentation, we will discuss, we will go into the topic of neural network-based video analytics, and I will also present to you a few features that have been implemented already based on the neural network analytics and how they are helping already nowadays in a lot of different installations around the globe. Joining me from Intel is Ediz Altun. Ediz, please introduce yourself.
Oh, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I am Ediz Altun. I am from Intel, working in Intel's IoT sales group for EMEA and India region, focusing on vision and smart cities applications. And I am really glad to be participating here, and I would like to thank everyone to joining. Today, I would like to talk to you about Intel's cost-effective and power-efficient AI and deep learning solutions from CPU, GPU to additional VPU accelerators, and our partnership with AxxonSoft on providing cost-effective deep learning solutions for our partners. So again, happy to be here and looking forward to our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next would be Stefan Jones and David Thompson from Seagate.
Hi there, this is Dave Thompson. I look after what we call systems within EMEA for Seagate, which is the chassis-based sets of drives. My colleague Steve Jones will also be joining us, who looks after the surveillance element of our solutions.
Perfect. And of course, Mr. Eugene Bontaletov from ABUS. Eugene? I think we might be having some technical difficulty with audio from Eugene, but I'm sure we will figure it out until his presentation. But to tell you that Eugene will be joining us from ABUS. He's the business development manager, and he will be talking about a very interesting solution that we have built recently with ABUS and their cameras, and he will be presenting this solution to you today. So let me start with our own presentation, and we will be discussing, of course, as I said, neural network-based video analytics as a part of our video management software. So a lot of people, of course, already know about the existence of neural network filters, but one of the main things that we are trying to do is to create a different kind of ideology and to make you understand what exactly we are offering and what exactly are the possibilities. So on the general exterior, the idea is quite simple. We had a lot of standard video motion detections before, but unfortunately they were giving false alerts, which were created, for example, by trees, by shadows. And this, of course, creates a lot of different problems because you don't receive the correct alert that you are looking for. But with the dawn of the neural network filters, what we managed to create is, for example, AI human detection. That means that every time you look at the video and every time you get an alert, the idea is for you to receive a correct, a right alert that would only identify a human. This is a great idea, but of course, as you can understand, there are a lot of features and a lot of basically ideas that fall into that topic. Our main differentiation that I would like to discuss today, and this is one of the main inputs that I would like you to take from AxxonSoft presentation today, the differences between the classic and neural network approach. So the classical approach, which was created, of course, and was used for a long time to create different types of detections, is what we call, for example, an developer sitting down, taking a look, as we have an example here of a dog, taking a look at pictures of a dog and trying to see what are the distinct features of a dog. Based on this, he can come up with an algorithm, which might take, for example, a day or a month. And based on that, he creates an algorithm which will define what is a dog. And based on that, he can actually create an algorithm. And based on this algorithm, then the end user will be able to detect a dog in his video. What is the advantage of this is that there is a clear application field. You don't use as many resources from the hardware. You don't require this. There is a dedicated solution. That means that we can, as software developers, tell you in which exact situations the detector will work and what kind of requirements we have towards this detection to work. With the neural network approach, which is a bit different, is we use basically a computer to do the work of a developer. So we feed a huge amount of images, which is required. So this means that it can be thousands of images or tens of thousands of images of a dog in different situations, or images where there is no dog. Based on that, the neural network creates basically an algorithm which is not defined by the developer himself, but is defined by the neural network. This neural network that is created, you can use in a different kind of situations. It allows you to detect basically the same, based on the same principle, a dog. But there's a lot of different situations where you can actually utilize this algorithm. Unfortunately, one of the main drawbacks is that we have the uncertainty of the area of applicability. That means that we cannot tell you that if this algorithm works in for a specific situation, for the specific environment for which it was created. We cannot be 100% certain that we work in another different situation or environment. Though, of course, a lot of this is automated, and a lot of part of the development process becomes a routine, which of course helps to create more neural networks that can be used by our end users in the end. What are the main advantages of the neural network filters? Well, one of the main things is that we have a huge amount of different scenarios and applications for which we can create neural network filters. For example, if we take the AI-powered smoke and fire detection that AxxonSoft has introduced in a few versions before. One of those is actually installation that has been done in Belarus for the Miloševići forest fires. You can see from here that we can detect smoke from quite a distance of up to 20 miles. And the idea here is that you actually get an alert where there is a smoke and not just clouds. There has been a lot of work put into the specific detector. And in a clear weather, you can see actually up to 50 kilometers away if there is a fire or a smoke coming out of the specific forest area. It's a very successful project. I know that they have been already testing it for a long period of time, and we have detected 10 out of 12 fires that have been started or occurred. And this is only because the 2 fires that were not detected were not even seen by human eye based on the video that was retrieved afterwards. It's a very successful project, and it's actually one of the projects that shows the power of AI analytics. In the past, we were receiving a couple of years ago a lot of scenarios and a lot of questions from our users, and they were asking us for a specific solution that they would like to do. So for example, if they have a problem with the ATM and they want to see if there is a person crouching there and doing something next to the ATM. Such scenarios were not able to be created and to be solved based on our analytics. But with the help of neural networks and at the moment with posture recognition, we manage actually to do this today. It's one of the greatest, one of the most powerful analytics that we have today. And this actually helped us to react to certain scenarios that have come up to us from different problems that we are facing today. So for example, when we talk about this, we can talk about social distancing violation. Well, based on the human behavior analytics, we can detect when a person is closer than 1 or 2 meters. It's a distance where you can actually set up in your software, and we can detect different anomalies that we need to detect. As you can see from the video, we can also detect a man down detection if somebody have their hands up or is in a position that could be carrying a gun. Those analytics give us the power to create, to detect basically such scenarios. So what else AI analytics can do? So we have developed a lot of different scenarios already and applications that have been using around the world. So you have people counting, rail car counting, we have visitor counting. You can detect, for example, cyclists on a road in a specific area. You can detect and you can say that I want only 1 person to be allowed in a specific area. Gas barrel detection. You can count only moving vehicles, which is a very powerful tool. Another application, of course, is to recognize potential difficult and dangerous situations. So for example, we managed based on segmentation to see if actually a person is wearing a helmet or if they're wearing a high vest jacket, and this would be a dangerous situation where we can create an alert. So another example is the water level detection. So basically, the idea of AI analytics and neural network analytics, what kind of problems we can tackle with them. One of the main ideas is that if there is an occurring problem that happens often, we can create, based on that, a specific neural network for you, and we can create a tailor-made solution for your customer. At the moment, our team has created over 50 neural networks that some of them have been used specifically for 1 or 2 projects. Some of them have found actually a vast majority of applications at the moment. One of the AI analytics scenarios that we actually managed to tackle the solution is, of course, also the real-time occupancy feature, which Eugene from ABUS will talk to us later, and how they are resolving and solving this today. So one of the little cases that we already have that uses abandoned object detection based on AI is the Centro Commerciale in San Bernardino in Italy. They are working with the abandoned object, but they also are using visitor counter from AxxonSoft to get statistics about how many people visit daily, weekly, or monthly the store that they have. Continuing to a part of our software which has been basically affected, let's say, in a good way by the arrival of neural networks is, of course, license plate recognition. As I showed you before, the idea here is also you get, for example, you can recognize the number plate, of course, of a specific car that has been moved. You can create a notification that comes to your phone and tell you that there has been a number plate recognized. You can create an automatic scenario where you can open, for example, a gate if a car comes to the gate and is in the positive negative list that is supported by the software. And then all the numbers that are recognized can, for example, drive through the gate or stop at the gate if it's in a blacklist. One of the main things that I also want to stress here, that based on the AI, we can also count cars and just taking into account only the cars that are moving and not only the stopped cars. One of the more affected, I would say, algorithms that we had before is, of course, facial detection and facial recognition. Here, the principle, of course, is the same. So you can actually have the positive and negative list. You can have your faces in a database. And based on that, you can actually create a different kind of scenarios where a person walks into the area, and you can either allow this person to enter the specific area, or you can get a notification on arrival of a specific person. One of the main features that we managed to tweak very fast for the situation that we have at the moment is, of course, mask detection. And we already offered this scenario so you can comply with different regulations in different countries around the world. And if your country requires to have people wearing a mask in specific spaces, you can already use the same algorithm, which is based on the facial detection. And then you can detect basically if a person is wearing a mask in a specific place. And if not, you can create a lot of different reactions where you can, for example, play an audio if a person is not wearing a mask, that they should put on a mask while in this area. One of the case studies that already uses face detection is via College University is the project that we have done in Denmark with one of our biggest partners, Solar. And since 2017, they actually have started with a few cameras, and they have expanded with over 250 cameras already. And one of the main features that they are actually using at the moment is a forensic search or Moment Quest. So Moment Quest is a smart search that we are offering as a part of our software solution. And it gives you a lot of different possibilities to search through your archive. So what you can actually search for is we give you a lot of different capabilities and ideas that you can search with. So for example, you can start with a simple line crossing or motion detection, but then you can add specific filters where you can say, for example, that you're looking for a person, that you're looking for something red. So if you're looking for somebody, a person wearing a red t-shirt, you can specify the color and you can specify also the object type. It can also be a vehicle or a group of people. You can also search, for example, for groups of people from a number of 4 or 5 people or more. So it's a very powerful tool that allows you to do a detailed smart search, and you can add different filters specifically for each situation that you might be facing in a specific situation. One other tool that we actually offer, and it's unique to our software, is the time compressor. Time compressor helps you to look through your archive in a very fast way and to give you a great synopsis of all the objects that have moved in the archive and just show you those objects and not go through hours of different archive that you might have. It's a great way to actually view your archive very fast and find what you're looking for. You can do, for example, the same thing with just faces, and you can see what who have been actually going in and out for an office. This is just based on, again, face detection, and you can see only the faces at each time, or you can do the same for all the objects. One last thing that I will touch upon today is actually a feature that have been requested a lot by our customers before. It is the feature of visual similarity. So we can assess if there is a person that looks like somebody else, or we can find the same person or a similar looking person on multiple cameras at the same time. So for example, you can see from the images that we have here, you have somebody wearing a yellow shirt and then also some shorts. And based on that, we can find different results from different cameras, different angles of the same person or somebody who is looking similar like this person in the picture. The great thing is that we can also apply this to different similar objects. And this, of course, allows you to look through for different other options that you might be looking for based on what you have. So this is a feature that's coming in the next version of our software solutions. And we are very happy because it has been requested by customers for a long time. So thank you very much. I hope you got really great input in the AI analytics and neural networks that we can offer to our customers. And let me leave you with one thing, that we are ready to tackle every scenario that you can request from us. And we are always happy to hear ideas about what we can help you resolve. And I think this is one of the main powers of AxxonSoft, that we don't shy from a challenge. And it's a great, as well, thank you to our developers and our development team who don't get enough credit for tackling all the different scenarios and different problems that our users face. And we're always glad to help to our customers. So thank you very much. And I will give the word to Ediz Altun from Intel to talk about the hardware solution of this site, because without the hardware solutions, we would not be able to actually bring to life the software side of our powerful solutions.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And you rightly said that hardware and software need to be integrated uh, in order to provide efficient deep learning applications. So totally agree with you. Starting from myself, I introduced myself in the beginning, but I would like to do again for the joiners later. I am Ediz Altun. I am working in Intel IoT sales group for smart cities and video and vision application segment, and responsible for Europe, Middle East, Africa, and India region. And my role is to do partner scale activities in that geography. AxxonSoft and Intel are two strong partners, I would say, from developing joint products, total solutions, doing joint R&D in order to provide latest and greatest solution at the most cost-effective and power-efficient way. And that I would like to touch base upon today in my presentation. If you like to go to the next slide, perfect. Thank you so much. So to start with, I would like to highlight a very innovative solution and then go into the details in my rest of the presentation. So in order to, AxxonSoft is a great deep learning and AI software vendor providing really sophisticated solutions. And I'm always amazed with their flexible solutions and different solutions that anybody else. And, I'm really impressed by the use cases that we see in the beginning of this presentation. And we work with AxxonSoft to optimize their solutions based on Intel hardware so that our partners are able to get the most out of the joint solution. So this is one of them. In deep learning and neural network applications, if you require a lot of video streams to be able to analyze, in most of the cases you need additional acceleration on top of the CPU and existing integrated GPU, right? And Intel has a effective and cost-effective solution on that one called Movidius chips, which I'm going to talk about later. Movidius chips are really low power and just designed for virtual neural network instructions. And we have this PCI Express form factor cards you see in the middle of the screen, which have 8 Movidius chips inside, and you can insert this PCI Express cards into any server if you require additional AI acceleration power. And AxxonSoft software is totally optimized for this and totally verified for this. One of the few software vendors, I would say, in the world that we are working with. And this enables our partners to be able to provide cost-effective solution because these cars are very much lower cost than traditional discrete graphics solutions. And you can scale as much as you want based on your workload requirements. You can add 1 or 2 cars, 4 or 5 cars, 6 cars, depending on your performance needs. And in our recent example, using AxonNet video analytics software and this AI acceleration card, which has Movidius chips, we can handle 65 channels of video on behavioral analytics solution. And this is a perfect example of how Intel and AxxonSoft work together to develop such a product to be able to provide cost-effective and power-efficient solutions. So if we go to the next slide, please. Thanks so much. So this is actually the journey that any AI application can go through because in the common belief that if you need an AI application on the inferencing side on the edge, common belief is that we need a discrete GPU solution, which is not true, because we actually are able to do inferencing applications on the edge let's say we want to do license plate recognition, and we trained the license plates already, and we want to implement it somewhere. You can actually use just CPUs to be able to do that. So in order to do that, depending on the cost and the workload requirements, you can use even Atom processors. If you require more horsepower, you can upgrade the core processors. And if you require the best performance, you can upgrade the Xeon processors. And the excellent reality about this is that you already use a processor in those compute devices to run the applications. And the good thing about this, you may not need to add any additional cards, and you may run your artificial intelligence applications on the existing CPU. The good thing is, another thing is that if the CPU is not enough, you can also use the existing integrated graphical processing unit, which comes with the CPU itself. So you don't, again, add any additional cost into your AI journey. But if you need more performance and horsepower on the AI application, or let's say your CPU and GPU is busy with doing other tasks, you can always add acceleration cards, just like the example that I showed on the first slide, and which can be one Movidius chip-based card, or two Movidius chip-based card, 4 or 8, depending on the workload. And these are much lower cost than the traditional discrete GPU solutions, which enables our partners and customers to have lower cost and lower power solutions by that way. And for additional acceleration, as I mentioned, we have Movidius chip-based one, and also FPGA-based solutions. So FPGA-based solutions are being used on low latency requirements and some specific programmable chip solutions, which you may be able to utilize. But in most of the cases, as I said, using existing CPU and graphical integrated graphical units and using additional Movidius-based acceleration are mostly enough. And this is enabled by the OpenVINO toolkit, which I would like to talk to you about a little bit on the next slide, if possible. So OpenVINO is a software development kit which is introduced by Intel 2 years ago, which is a totally free software development kit. And it is to optimize the trained model based on the Intel silicon that you are going to use. So this is a totally inferencing tool. It is not about training. Let's say you have a trained model. Let's say you trained it in TensorFlow or MXNet, Coffee, PyTorch, Paddle. It really doesn't matter. You trained your model and it exists. What OpenVINO does is it takes the trained model and it optimizes it using model optimizer and creates this XML file, which we call intermediate representation file. And that file is specifically optimized for the required CPU or GPU or VPU that you are going to use. So let's say you are going to use Core i7 based compute device on your license plate recognition or face recognition based application. This OpenVINO toolkit optimizes your trained model according to Core i7 that you are going to use. Or if you are going to utilize existing graphical processing unit that comes with the Core i7 or Core i5, it optimizes the trained model accordingly. Or if you want to use additional acceleration power like the Movidius chips that I mentioned earlier, with the PCI Express form factor that comes into your servers, OpenVINO also optimizes that one based on the Movidius. And you can do hybrid or optimization as well. I mean, you can utilize all of those existing compute power. Let's say you want to use CPU, GPU, and VPU all together. and then get the most out of your existing investment in your hardware. All of this is possible by using OpenVINO toolkit. As I mentioned, it is a totally free software development kit, and AxxonSoft is using it heavily in all of their algorithms, which means that using AxxonSoft software on deep learning application will bring you the most cost-effective solutions when it comes to deployment, because AxxonSoft is taking advantage of OpenVINO so that AxxonSoft engineers can provide you the most cost-effective solution and also most power-efficient solution, because when you are considering total cost of ownership, it is not the initial deployment cost, but using a lot of power over the years. It's also a concern. So AxxonSoft solutions using OpenVINO also provide you consume less power over the years as well. So if we can move on to the next slide, please. Thank you so much. So in that, I would like to talk to you about the some of the advantages of using different Intel processors. And as you can see, I am showing here only the CPUs and what we call VPUs. VPUs stands for Visual Processing Units, and Movidius chips that I mentioned is the type is a VPU actually. Most of the devices that you are using in deep learning application has CPU already. So which would be the best CPU to choose depending on the cost and the hardware requirements? So starting from the Xeon processors, obviously, which is the most powerful processor when it comes to artificial intelligence applications. One of the Xeon processors that we introduced last year, which is second generation Xeon processors, and we just introduced the third generation one. The first time in Intel processor history, we introduced deep learning capability, which is embedded in the processor. And the second generation Xeon processors have that. What we call it deep learning boost technology. It means that in the existing CPU of Xeon, there is a virtual neural network instruction sets, and you can have additional AI acceleration power by using only CPU itself, and it improves performance dramatically. I will show you in the upcoming slide that how much it improves the performance just by upgrading the CPU at the same cost, actually. I mean, if you are using the Xeon processor 2 years ago, and if you want to use the same cost Xeon processors today, you can actually jump into a very high performance result at the same cost. So Xeon processors provide that one if it is second generation scalable processors, and Xeon processors are also able to map more memory bandwidth in AI applications. So if your data is big and utilizing lots of memory, Xeon processors are the best CPU solutions or processing solutions to be able to map and manage all the memory intensive applications in artificial intelligence use cases. Let's say you don't need to use Xeon processors and you would like to utilize some cost-effective solution. You can always use core processors. And what is good about core processors is that it has very powerful graphical units embedded in it. And also integrated graphical units come with different flavors. Some of the core processors have Iris and Iris Plus graphics, which is our most high-end integrated graphical units, so that you can take advantage of it when it comes to artificial intelligence applications on the core processor level, which is much lower cost than Xeon processors, obviously. And it can handle 4K video content very smoothly, and you can run lots of media encoding, decoding, and transcoding applications in the CPU itself by utilizing the existing graphical processing units. And in the second half of this year, the same technology that we introduced in Xeon processor, which is deep learning boost technology, we are going to introduce it in core processor family as well in the end of third quarter. I mean, it is approximately will be around October, November timeframe, which we call Tiger Lake processors on the core side. And by that time, core processors will be able to also have this deep learning boost capability, so which will provide you additional acceleration capacity on top of the existing GPU and existing core count as well. And very low end of the stack, obviously Atom processors. Let's say you wanna manage or do video analytics only on the one video stream, and your frame per second requirement is low, and you really look for the low cost applications. You can always use Atom processors. And the common sense here is that start from the bottom and go up. I mean, if you are considering more performance, the first thing to look at it is always upgrading the CPU, let's say from core processor to Xeon processors, without actually thinking about adding additional acceleration cards. Once you reach the threshold or the maximum performance, let's say you upgrade the latest processor and CPU utilization too high and you need additional acceleration, then we recommend to use additional cards like the Movidius VPUs that you see on the right side. And on the Movidius side, as I said, they are really low power, low cost solution, and it comes with multiple variety of form factors. You can find Movidius chip-based cards on M.2 form factor or PCI Express form factor from different vendors. And you can insert those cards into the server. And also, as I mentioned, you can put 3-4 cards depending on the workload requirements. And again, I would like to mention here, AxxonSoft totally verified, tested, and approved these acceleration cards. And you can actually start deploying those today. I mean, it is not at the conceptual phase, and we actually have some of the deployments in place already. And AxxonSoft is one of the few companies in the world who can actually take advantage of this low cost, low power, Movidius-based acceleration cards for your deep learning applications. If we move on to the next slide, please. Thank you so much. So as promised, this is the performance gain using OpenVINO in Xeon processors. And all of the processors here, 1, 2, and 3, is same cost. So, you know, every year we are introducing new technology at the same cost. And the new technology comes with new features and new capabilities. So you can get more by spending the same cost. So 2 years ago, when we introduced OpenVINO software development kit in 2018, which is the baseline of the deep learning performance, it is at 1x performance. And 1 year from that, in 2019, the performance gain was 2.1x in 1 year. So at the same cost, you multiply your deep learning performance by 2x. But in 2019 later, when we introduced second generation Xeon scalable processors, which has the deep learning boost technology, which I mentioned, the performance gain is actually almost 26x. This is really the really impressive gain you can get from just by using Intel Xeon processors without any discrete GPU or VPU, and which is at the same cost and the same power, and you can get the performance gain. And this is all be enabled by using OpenVINO toolkit. And in OpenVINO toolkit, Intel is so committed, and there are big engineering and software engineering team working on it. And we are introducing new version every quarter, and we are committed to deliver latest and greatest performance in every release. And as I mentioned, AxxonSoft is fully aligned on OpenVINO roadmap and development, and they optimize their software algorithms, AI use case algorithms based on OpenVINO, and you can get the most out of your buck when it comes to deep learning applications. So if we move on to the final slide, please. So this is the one ready solution from AxxonSoft. Intel has this program called RFP Ready Kits, request for proposal ready kits, available for our partners globally. So it is a bundled solution. I mean, software, hardware together to target specific verticals. And AxxonSoft video surveillance and analytics kit is part of it. So which means that you can actually go ahead and procure the solution and deploy it immediately. If you need more information, you can always ask me and also Intel sales representative that you might have. If not, you can reach out to me, or you can always reach out to AxxonSoft sales representatives as well, and we would be happy to help you in order to provide you the most effective solution. Obviously, every artificial intelligence solution is unique, and every scenario requires different workloads, different resolution or frame per second requirements or cost requirements. So every scenario requires some tailor-made solution. So my point is, for every use cases, we are ready to work together with AxxonSoft engineering team and Intel engineering team to provide you the most effective solution using Intel hardware and AxxonSoft software. So by that, I would like to finish my presentation, and I would like to thank you all for joining. And I hope you will enjoy the rest of the presentation. And if you have any questions, I will be happy to help you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It was great to hear, and as we discussed before, and this is one of the main points, I think, in general, that we have a lot of projects that we have already realized with Intel support, with the Intel hardware support, because otherwise this would not be possible for our analytics, for our software to actually utilize and to actually create powerful tools for the end user, for the end customer to utilize and to solve different solutions. So I think we can take a couple of minutes for some questions, which I skipped from my part before. But unfortunately, I've discussed already with my colleague, Kate. Unfortunately, I don't have an access to Q&A. So please, Kate, if you can also help us with this, and so we can also attend to the questions that might have been stated or that we might have for Intel at the moment.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending this webinar of ours. Yes, we have been actively receiving questions. We have answered a few in writing already, but I think we can always ask you to elaborate more on some of them. So one of the first questions, if you have a project, how long will it take to customize a neural network to my requirements?
This is always a difficult question. So normally it's very dependent on the project and of the analytics in mind. Because, for example, if you are looking for a human detection solution, we have already a lot of different filters that we can try, and we can already help you with this project based on AI. But as discussed and as mentioned before, to get a very high percentage of accuracy and to go as high as 98, 99% of great accuracy, you would need to train the neural network for the specific situation. So you need to keep in mind, if it's a neural network solution that already exists, that might need training. This can take from 2 weeks to up a month. Or if it's a completely new scenario, if it's a new situation that occurs often, if it's a new problem that we need to resolve, this of course might require a bit more time, specifically because we need the images and the archive from the specific site to actually resolve the problem and to create a new neural network just for you.
Okay, thank you for this question. And here's another one. Regarding the Intel toolkit part, I have to include this toolkit in my server to ensure AI technology working properly. I think it's a question to you and to Ediz as well.
That's
Yeah,
correct. It
I
is.
think,
Yeah.
sure. So I think it is answered in the chat box, but yes, it has to be included. But I think all the AxxonSoft algorithms already using and taking advantage of OpenVINO, so it comes together. So if you are using AxxonSoft solution, you already have OpenVINO optimized algorithm, which could be installed in your server, so which is already there. But yeah, in order to take advantage of OpenVINO, it has to be run on the server, which comes together with AxxonSoft software. Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. And here's another interesting question. How do we train the neural network? Is there an interface for it?
So at the moment, the neural networks are trained by our development team. This is why I also took a minute before to actually thank them a lot for the work that they have been doing. And basically, if you are looking for a new neural network, or if you want a neural network that already exists to be trained, you are contacting us, AxxonSoft, and then we are doing the work for you.
Okay, great. I think we're good on the questions so far, and we can proceed on with the webinar.
Perfect. So I think one of the main questions that, of course, the end user or our integrators and partners are dealing with is, of course, storage. I had a case this week where they needed to export around 30 days of archive from 42 cameras at the same time. And of course, I think this is in the end of the day, this is a very valuable topic about what do we do with the archive, what is the storage that we should trust. And here, I think our valuable partners from Seagate can actually help us to answer this kind of question.
Yeah, hi, good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah,
perfect.
Okay. Is the slide available?
Yes.
Fantastic, thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. So let me introduce myself first. So my name is Steve Jones. Just to give you a bit of background, so I've been in the video surveillance industry now for just over 30 years. Moved to Seagate just over 3 years ago. And my role at Seagate is covering both Europe and the Middle East region, typically working with our many ecosystem partners globally to create solutions for the video surveillance market. I'm sure most of you will probably know Seagate as predominantly a device or HDD, sort of spinning disk manufacturer. But we also offer a full range of storage solutions. And what we're going to focus on today is more of our centralized storage and also SAN storage solutions for the video surveillance industry. And I think as the industry starts to move to sort of more intelligent-based technology, we also see Seagate is starting to pivot to more of a solution or solutions-based provider, more focused on end-to-end solutions rather than just the actual device itself. Next slide, please. So, I think we all agree, data is increasing every day. We all know that. But what I want to do is just take a look at it in a little more detail about what data creation means and what the real business opportunity is. So according to the IDC Data Age 2025 report, this was actually published a couple of years ago. And also this is available if you do a quick search on your Google search and look up Data Age 2025. You can actually download the white paper. And what this report basically highlighted, it took a look at what we call the global data sphere, and how we're creating data across the globe. And effectively, we're looking at increasing tenfold the amount of data that's created in the global data sphere by 2025, up to 175 zettabytes. Now, just to explain, a zettabyte is equivalent to 1 trillion gigabytes. And just to put that into context, if you were able to store the entire global data sphere on DVDs, then you would have a stack of DVDs that would get you to the moon 23 times and also circle the Earth 222 times. So that's a huge amount of data. So it's also amazing that within this particular forecast, or within this particular report, storage shipments across all media types over the next 4 years will potentially exceed the growth that we saw in the past 20. So more growth in the next 4 years that we've seen in the last 20 years. So what this report really highlights is looking at some of the key trends. And one of the key trends for that data creation growth is video surveillance and CCTV as being a real key driver for that data explosion. And also by 2025, I know there's a lot of talk about, solid state and SSDs. Hard drives will be primarily the main mode of storage, with SSDs and tapes also rounding out the top three. Notably, real-time data. We all talk about AI, advanced video analytics, machine learning. Real-time data at the edge will also grow from 15% to 30% by 2025. Also, same time, the report also shows and highlights that by 2025, embedded data covers embedded systems and IoT, and also CCTV and video surveillance. So effectively digital devices, connected across a network. This particular market segment will represent over 20% of all the data created within inside that global data sphere. Next slide, please. And also, we've seen over the last few years, video is just being used differently, where video was typically driven by, security requirements. It's now being used with advanced video analytics, AI, deep learning, and, basically data from CCTV systems is just used in a different way. Some of these typical use cases, so we see, a lot of CCTV or camera technology that's used in smart city, typically to drive and improve efficiencies of, traffic and utilities management. We also see, a lot of CCTV systems deployed in the education sector, typically to improve student engagement, campus safety, and so on. And then we're also seeing a lot of this technology also deployed in the manufacturing sector. Seagate themselves are actually using this AI combined with very intelligent CCTV cameras to effectively include in our process monitoring, and also to provide some quality management. Next slide, please. Okay, so question, why network storage and where should it be considered? So, I think there's probably two sides to the market. We have a proportion of the market which is typically, box driven, NVR or appliance driven. And then we have a more, scalable side of the market, which is for, larger systems, more scalable, interoperability, interconnected, a lot of third-party technology and a lot of third-party ecosystem players building a solution into one end-to-end turnkey solution itself. So typically, when we talk about network storage and specifically SAN, we're looking at applications that need to scale. We also introduce no single point of failure. We also offer mind-boggling performance, and also from an end user point of view, we also offer a lower TCO. We at Seagate believe we have the highest performance. Dave Thompson is going to go through a bit more on the actual product itself, but we have extremely high throughput performance on our RAID controller typically, we have a sequential write of approximately 5.5 gigabytes per second, and also sequential read capability up to 7 gigabytes per second on our controller. We also offer very high availability, so video on demand, and also our systems are extremely easy to manage via a management interface and GUI. Next slide, please. So we're just going to look at some of the common sort of use cases for SAN. We'll just move on to the next slide. So just to run through this very quickly, we see 4 key areas. So starting with mid camera counts that require scalability. So typically these are camera counts below 500 cameras. They want retention of between 1 and 3 months, but there's a possibility to grow, expand, and scale the systems. I know on one of the previous presentations, looking at that education campus, that need to grow and to scale, and of course, you know, it's not just about adding devices or adding technology. You need to obviously look at the right storage platform and the right storage technology to manage that scalable approach. Long-term retention is also a requirement, typically driven by compliance and sort of regulatory needs. High camera counts, which is an obvious one, typically camera counts above 500 cameras, and then very large deployments like smart cities, where there's typically multiple thousands of cameras on a single deployment. Next slide, please. So just to finish off, just 4 more slides from me. This is sort of giving you some system architecture of what these typical 4 applications actually look at. So this is the mid camera count. So, you know, we have the cameras on the left-hand side, we have a network, we have your recording servers and management servers on a separate network. And then again, we have a separate SAN network. And this product that we're highlighting here is our 2U12. Now with our latest 16 terabyte drives, we can actually populate each of them enclosures with 192 terabytes. When we expand, and there's also capability of having up to 9 additional expansion bods. When we expand, we're offering just below 2 petabytes of storage. And of course, as we increase that areal density of our drives, and you'll see, you know, a lot more than 16 terabytes coming out into the market over the coming months and years. You know, as we provide more capacity in the drive, that technology will obviously be deployed in these solutions. Next slide, please. Okay, this is now sort of a video surveillance application that requires long video retention. You know, typically 2 to 8 months. And again, same architecture, but just a different product set. So this product here is our 5U84. So 84 drives in a single enclosure with a dual redundant power supply, dual redundant controller. And again, Dave will go into a bit more of a deep dive into the actual technology and the modular platform. So okay, next slide. So again, this is using either our 2U12 or our 5U84. Just on the 5U84 as well. So these are expanded up to 4 units in total. So we can scale up to 5.3 petabytes on a single system. And of course, these can then be deployed on a wider geographic scale if you start to get into, you know, applications like smart cities, which is on our next slide. So this is where we have real large deployments, you know, smart cities, law enforcement, you know, typically large scale systems on an individual basis that are linked together over a wide geographic area that makes this sort of, you know, larger like mega system, where typically you've got thousands and thousands of cameras on, you know, different sites across large geographic areas where you need centralized storage. And of course, centralized storage really comes into its own for these types of applications. So that's me finished. Next slide. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to hand over to Dave Thompson, who is our EDS expert that covers the EMEA region. So Dave, over to you.
Thank you, Steve. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, if we can move to the next slide, please. Just to kind of reiterate, you know, most of you will know us for being one of the leading manufacturers of devices, of hard disk drive devices and solid state devices. But as you've seen already, we've got a number of different chassis of products which are Seagate IP end to end. You know, and if we look at the far left, and we've seen some smaller chassis already, but we do very high density chassis. And in fact, you know, we've got the largest and highest density chassis on the market today. As one of our JBODs or expansion chassis, the one depicted here is a 4U chassis that can take 106 up to 106 16 terabyte drives, or smaller drives needed, but that gives you 1.7 petabytes in just 4U of space. And we do a whole range of JBODs in a very modular way. We call those the ExosEs. If we move on to Exos X, this is our SAN, our RAID platform. And again, there's a number of chassis in this range. It's very modular, very, very high performance, to give you great sustained writing ability and sustained readability, as well as flexibility when it comes to expansion and those sort of things. And again, you know, we own the IP from, you know, the heads on the disk drives, to the actuators, to the drives themselves, to the chassis, to the onboard RAID, to the ASICs on the RAID that drive those data calculations, giving us the performance we have today. And then the third product set, so all of these are product sets really, and there's multiple products underneath them, is what we call AP. And AP means it's an application platform, and essentially this is a chassis that also has compute on board. So, you know, in our large products like this, it's got our friends Intel, multiple Intel processors on board, and there's two blades available to run bespoke applications and everything else. Next slide, please. So, chassis of drives and Seagate. I'm sure it is new information to you. Having said that, we've got lots and lots of experiences we've acquired over the years through acquisition, actually. So we've got more than 30 years plus of experience with these sort of devices. And in fact, today we've got over 1 million chassis deployed in the industry. So it's what we're trying to say is it's something we know quite a lot about, and we've certainly got a lot of capability here. Next slide, please. So we understand a lot of things about what's required within this environment, and we've designed that into the solutions that we provide. So they are very simple to implement and deploy and manage. So they're certainly built for all sorts of industries, but surveillance is a top industry for us. Performance, you know, we need to be able to record multiple streams simultaneously down to storage without any glitches, and this is where some of our IP, you know, the ASIC that gives us the great performance, the 5.5 gigabytes per second that Steve mentioned in write performance that we have. The flexible growth, the fact that, you know, we can start off small, and we have got really, you know, really economical chassis, just 12 drives, and grow at wish, you know, grow at will. You know, that those chassis, we can go to over 100 drives just by adding expansion chassis on, and that can be done live, which is great. And then stability. So we're a big believer in excess of 5 nines uptime. You know, if you've got a deployment and you've got CCTV, it's got to be working, and it's got to be working 24/7, and it's not gonna need any downtime. So, you know, we're very proud of our 5 9 or in excess of 5 nines uptime figures. Everything is dual redundant within the system. You know, whether that be power supplies, whether it be power source, whether it be the clever RAID bit, or of course the drives themselves. But that gives you a little bit of a flavor as to where we are, and I think that takes us to the end of our presentation. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I would say double thank you as well. So let's take a couple of minutes to see if we have any questions towards Seagate, and then we can move on to our last presentation for today. Kate, if you can assist me with that as well.
Actually, that was a very interesting question, but Danny has already answered it in writing. Yeah, we have been efficient here. So for the moment, I don't see any questions yet, but we could have a short Q&A session after the ABUS presentation.
Okay, perfect. Then let's start with the last presentation for today from ABUS and from Eugene Bontaletov. And I would like to say that it's a really great and interesting solution that it has been deployed very fast with the support of ABUS colleagues. And I'm really excited to hear from Eugene to talk about this solution.
Hi together. My name is Eugene Bondaletto. I'm with ABUS for almost 11 years now, and most of the time I was deep into international CCTV businesses, and for the last 2 years I'm the business development manager of the company here for a special video surveillance project. Just a few words about ABUS, because maybe some of you did not did not hear about our company, because next slide please, Kostyantyn. We are a worldwide company. Next slide. Started our business in security in 1924. Of course, at this time there was no electronics. It was mainly mechanic business, but we started with padlocks, and yeah, in the last 95 years now, we improved the business up to electronics, CCTV, access control, intruder alarm systems. We are also in the mechanics. We are in the mobile business, which you will see on the next slide. So the total portfolio we present today, we share into 3 different verticals: security at home, property security, and the mobile security. And the project I would like to show you today is one of the projects from the property security, and especially in the electronics. Next slide, please. So there was a couple of months ago, when the pandemic started here in Germany also, we had the issue that the branch managers of different shops, they were forced forced by government to count people, which is the next slide. And what they started is they started to hire people, started to hire security companies, and to have humans in front of the entrances and exits who started to count people, because the government said, depending on the city, on the state you are in Germany, the branch manager was only allowed to have 1 visitor per 20 square meters of his shop. So in this case, every branch manager could count how many visitors he was allowed to get in. And yeah, they started to count. Of course, of course, it was a good solution on one side. On the other side, quite a costly solution to have manpower who is counting, and not as reliable, because humans are there for doing mistakes. So our idea was and this is where we are very thankful to AxxonSoft, due to our long-term relationship for, I think, over 5 years now in total. We found out that AxxonSoft is already having a software which has a specific tool which is done for the people counting function, and this tool we have used together with our cameras for the and of course with the artificial intelligence of AxxonSoft for the people counting. And well, the challenge for us was actually to create the plug-and-play systems. It was important for us to have a very high accuracy rate in order to be, you know, more accurate in comparison to our competitors on the worldwide market. The installation time needs to be short because usually the branch managers would not have the time to build and or not also the knowledge. The whole system should be good viewable for all the visitors who would try to enter. They should see immediately, am I allowed now to enter the shop or not? We wanted to offer our partners a selection between buying, leasing, or renting of the system. Then, of course, it was very important for the branch manager because he said, well, once I start to invest now to this people counting system, what will happen after pandemic time is over? Can I use it for anything else? So this was a very important point for us. And yeah, end of the day, it should be a plug and play system with a full setup, we should. Well, we need to be the delivery time should be very short. That's why we created all the packages before, put them on stock, tested, pre-installed everything, put them in stock, and started selling it out of stock. Next slide, please. So this is just to give you a picture. Pictures in German, we say pictures are saying more than 1,000 words. This is how it looks like. It was a stainless steel stand with the box on the bottom. You see in the box we have the PC, the switch and everything inside, all connected, pre-installed with the AxxonSoft artificial intelligence on the PC. Then you see the 32-inch monitor and on a highness of 2.90 meters up to 2.80 to 3.20 meters, we put the camera with a resolution of 4 megapixel. Yeah, and the camera from the top of the camera, it started to monitor the whole entrance area, and the software is trained to recognize human and even to see the difference between, you know, human and animals, or human and anything else. So this is how we reach the accuracy rate of 97% with the system. On the next slide, we can see the same system, but for a bit wider entrances or exits. And the good thing on it, if you have even more entrances or exits, you can connect them all together. This was one of the advantages of the system of Axxon Intellect, because most of our competitors, they were only able to to build their system in one entrance, but once the shops would have a second, a third, and a fourth, and a sixth entrance or exit, well, they wouldn't be able to connect them together. Yeah, next slide, please. Here you can see once the whole system was pre-built, we put it on a pallet. The pallet in total get 200 kg. And yeah, directly started to sending it on the shop owners, system integrators, and yeah, all interesting, all people who were interested. And together with the shipment, we created a quick guide menu, because as I said before, the challenge was to create a system which even a customer who is not the knowledge about CCTV software and so on, and IT knowledge basically, should be able to build the system. This is why we created a quick guide installation manual, and with the quick guide, I've done it myself. Will see in the next slide. You can build the whole system within 50 minutes. Can we see the next slide with the video? So this was one of the first samples we received a couple of months back, and my colleague from the marketing department, she decided to do a kind of test. how easy or how difficult the system was, then we also invited one of the installation companies, one of the of our customer installer company. And this here you can see the whole stand with the box on the bottom, then 2 pipes, the vertical and horizontal pipe, then the small mini dome camera which we put on the top. And the good thing was, all the devices you can see, even the cables and multi-plugs, everything was included in the box. This was one order, one shipment, full installation done. At the end, you just need to connect power, and if required, you can even connect a LAN cable. The customer have always the option between LAN and Wi-Fi, because the PC would have a Wi-Fi function as well. Yeah. So yeah, this is was my target, just to show you that even in worst, in challenged times like pandemic, and we all had our challenges, I guess. You can see even in such a difficult times, there is always an option to find some low-hanging fruits, and we are very glad that we have AxxonSoft as our software partner, and yeah, looking forward to a successful further relationship. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Eugene, for this. It's great. And if I may take one of your last words, it's challenges. And this is great to have partners such as ABUS, Intel, Seagate, and joining us and creating solutions that actually very help our partners and that assist our end users to solving their problems that may even arise quite quickly. And it's a great input as well. Thank you for diving deep into the project and how it was built. And I think this offers a really great insight on how the general technical approach and technical resolution of a problem works between partners, and how fast it might need be sometimes. And it's a really great opportunity working and having you today as well with us for this webinar. So let's see if we have any questions left. Kate, if you can check for me. Thank you very much.
Me again. Hello again. Actually, all the questions have been answered in writing.
Okay, perfect. So then what I would like to do towards the end, I would, of course, thank you very much again, everyone. You can see the names of the presenters right away here. You can find each one of us, of course, on the LinkedIn, or you can, of course, contact any one of us and ask additional questions. These presentations will be shared, as I'm aware, on the YouTube channel. And then you can, if you missed any part of the presentation or want to go again through a specific part, you will be able to do so. So I would like again to thank Intel, Seagate, and ABUS for being with us today. I would like to thank our team, Kate, who put everything together, Arthur, Can, and Alexandra, who helped us to answer all your questions. And I'm really hoping that you had a valuable time and you had very, for me, the main point is that you actually learned something today. You took some input that will actually help you in your future projects or in your current projects, and to get a better understanding about solutions that we all can offer together. If some of the closing words from each of our partners today, we will do it in the same queue that we did before. So let's start with Intel. Just a few closing words from our partners.
Sure. Thank you so much. Ediz Altun here. I'm glad to be presenting today and very honored. And thank you for inviting Intel to this webinar to be able to talk about our joint solutions with AxxonSoft. And I would like to again say that Intel and AxxonSoft is working together hand in hand, jointly developing latest and greatest artificial intelligence solutions for our partners. AxxonSoft software is highly utilized and highly optimized to take advantage of Intel's different variety of silicons from CPUs, GPUs to VPUs. And we highly appreciate AxxonSoft partnership, and we look forward to work with you guys in the upcoming projects. And any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or your Intel country representative or AxxonSoft sales representatives, and we are happy to help you and work together with you. Thank you so much, and have a nice day.
Thank you very much. Then Stephen and David, please.
Yeah, it's Steve here. Yeah, David's unfortunately had to just jump on another call.
No problem at all.
But yeah, I'd just like to just to say thank you for the invite. Thank you for the opportunity. I think it's been a really good session. And to the audience, if there's any further information that anybody requires, then either please contact us directly. You can find myself and David on LinkedIn. I'm sure we'd be happy to share, email, contact details. And we're really looking forward to developing joint solutions to the market. This is a massive growth area for us, and we're really excited to partner with AxxonSoft and their other alliance partners. And just to close on the video surveillance segment, we do have actually 5 sales leads covering the whole of EMEA. So we have North Europe, South Europe, Central Europe, Russia, and also Middle East. So we've got a dedicated team for video surveillance. And again, all those representatives can be found on LinkedIn. So thank you again.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And Eugene,
yeah, awesome.
The last word.
Last word from my side. I mean, I've said everything already. Thanks again for the partnership. Thanks again for the very successful, fruitful, trustful partnership. Thanks also for listening. If you're more interested, I also offer you to contact me at any time, either LinkedIn or Xing or any other platform. Email address you will see in the presentation as well. A phone number, just WhatsApp chat me or get in contact with me at any time. All the questions can be answered. Yeah, at any time. Thank you. Thanks for listening. Thank you for your attention, and yeah, all the best.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to everybody. Thank you a lot to everybody who attended, who spent their time today with us. There is a poll as well open from our side. Please just some quick input for us to be better, to get better for you, so we can utilize your time as better as possible. Thank you very much. Have a great day today, still working, enjoying the freedom if you are working from the home office. And I'm very hopeful that you will join us in the future sessions in our webinars. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and soon have a great weekend as well. Enjoy.
Stay healthy, everybody.
Stay healthy. Thank you so much. Have a great day.